hymn composition to high school students. Mr. Matt Rivers earned his master's degree in music from the University of Maryland. His scholarly research has focused on the history and role of music in the church and in his gospel education. He has taught music theory and a course on selected sacred works of Johann Sebastian Bach at Faith Lutheran School in Plano, Texas. So please welcome Mr. and Mrs. Rivers and
Well, thank you all for coming. I'll try to do a decent job with the microphone, and it's here for a reason. So I share in your disappointment if you're coming for Dr. Hurl. I was looking forward to a session also. So if it is your first time sitting through this, welcome. We're sorry in advance. And if it's your second time, I don't think anybody's here for the second time. But if you are, then you're doing this to yourself. So, well, in all seriousness, we're glad that you're here to go through this session with us. We'll talk a little bit about hymn writing and our approach that we took in the course that we've taught this previous year at Faith Lutheran, best practices, kind of our approach, and show you what we did. Sharing the stage with me is an actual teacher. Mrs. Rivers teaches at Faith Lutheran, and so does Miss Roundy, who's also assisting today on the organ, since neither of us are able to do what she's able to do, and it is an important part of the afternoon. So anyway, the main goal of this presentation is to remove some of the mystery around hymn writing. Most people know where to find a hymn. You pick up a hymnal and you open it up, and there's hundreds of them there for you. But how those things come into existence is a little bit more of a mystery to people, and it can be daunting, even if you want to get into hymn writing. How do you start doing that? So what we want to do today is take away some of that mystery and maybe break it into parts, just like you would make a cake or change a tire. Once you understand the different components of it and you're able to have that functional, I won't say mastery, but knowledge maybe, understanding, you can do that. So to get into it a little bit, what we want to do is feature some of the work by the students in the course. We had 3 high school students at Faith Lutheran High School this past year. Each of them, as a final project, was asked to compose a full 4-part writing hymn, complete with multiple stanzas for their choice of the season. To Miss Roundy's great displeasure, they were also given their choice of key. Some keys are better than others for organists, and she has bravely and ably worked on all the works that we'll feature. So this is a student composition, a Lenten hymn, and we will hear that first just to kind of get us in the right mood for what we're talking about. Warming up the organ. Composition by a 10th grader, which we were quite impressed with. And I shouldn't say that we're responsible for the talent that came out of this young lady when she composed this, nor did she start there at the beginning of the year. We started very simply with things like construct a few melodic motifs, and then you put them together with another one. And that is a year's worth of work for her, is to be able to do that. So what we hope to do today, as I mentioned, is to break apart the process a little bit. And what we did in the first group when we did this presentation the first time, we surprised a little bit simple. We're going to write a hymn in the session together. And if you hadn't heard that, well, now that's your surprise.
Surprise!
But if you had heard that, it is true. We are going to do that, but we're going to write something different and hopefully better than the first group. So that's your challenge.
Yeah.
And to walk us through the initial part of that is Mrs. Rivers, who will talk to us about poetry and well, what are we going to do here?
All right. So, yeah, this is true. We wrote a hymn last time, and I'll be honest with you, we had Lisa Clark here, so you got a high bar. This is going to require some audience participation. So if you don't like participating, like put your head down or something so I know to call on you. If you have a phone or a Bible, some access to a Bible, please take that out because we are going to choose a Sunday of the church year from which to write this hymn. And you can't pick Monday, Thursday because the last group picked it. So you can have Transfiguration or you can have Trinity Sunday, First Trinity Sunday. And we'll use the readings from the one-year lectionary because we're Lutherans. And we'll use those readings. So by show of hands, who would like to write a Transfiguration hymn? Okay, we got some Moses-loving. Okay, good. All right. And then what about Trinity Sunday? Anyone feeling strong about Trinity Sunday? Okay, I think that was like 5 for each. We're going to have a little more strong feeling behind this, okay? Now remember, Transfiguration, we've got Moses' face glowing, we have Mount of Transfiguration, right? This good stuff. Some nice imagery there. Or we could go with Trinity Sunday, 3 in 1, Mysteries of the Trinity, Athanasian Creed. Feel strongly.
Are you going to make him vote again?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was not enough participation. Everyone needs to have an opinion here. Would that make you feel better? Okay. We can do this anonymously. Close your eyes, raise your hand. Who would like Transfiguration? Okay, now we're talking. How about Trinity Sunday?
Transfiguration and landslide.
Transfiguration won. Okay. Good. So let's put up the readings for that. If I could have maybe, let's say, this group over here, kind of over in this area down the aisle. If you could take Exodus 34 and look that one up. And then if you're upstairs, if you would look up 2 Peter 1, verses 16 through 21. And you over here in this Keyser group, you get Matthew 17, 1 through 9. Okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to either look it up on your phone or if you have a Bible on you to open that up. Look at the reading. Look for key words, key images, phrases, anything that you think stands out. I'm not going to tell you how to analyze the text because you know better than I do. We would have walked the students through this, but you are all better at this than I am, so go ahead and take a few minutes to do that. Oh, you have a not smartphone.
See, I told you we should have put the scripture on this.
Actually. I brought my study Bible. Here, Dr. Haley. All right. I know that I didn't give you much time, but I'm on the clock because we have to actually write 4-part harmony with this after we write the verse. All right. So the Transfiguration, Old Testament folks, group over here. Let's brainstorm for a moment. What images, ideas, words, keywords should we throw up here to start our thinking about this hymn? How do you still Sinai. We established in the last session that I can't spell. I'm sorry, Pastor Keiser. N-A-I? There we go. Law. Mountain?
Mountain, yeah.
Anything else you want to add? Second Peter, where Peter talks about being an eyewitness of the majesty. What do you have up in the balcony? You have to... Sure. Mountain shows up again, okay? We'll give it a capital T truth. I like capital T truth. Light? Did I spell that? That's a little prophecy. Is that right? Okay. I like witness. Okay, gospel lesson. Matthew 17. Jesus.
Who said Jesus?
Sunday school. It's always the right answer, right? Bright cloud. You guys are just like trying to make me spell wrong in front of my headmaster. Sorry, I don't know grammar. Don't know spelling. Light? Do we have light yet? Light gets another check mark. Mountain shows up again.
Cloud.
We got cloud, yep. Moses. I can spell those. I have nephews named Moses and Elijah. Restore.
Sun, S-U-N.
Yes. Everyone else, please spell the word for her. Yes, we can.
He knows me. He knows me. Do we have voice? Voice again, yes. And a third, pleased and temple.
Tough to rhyme.
Yeah. How many words rhyme with transfigure? That's going to go at the beginning of the line. Stood.
6 days. Only. Jesus only.
Where's Jesus over here? Only. There we go. Look over there.
Son of man.
S-O-N.
We actually worked very well together. We're still married. There was a lot of fear and then no fear, yeah. All right. That's a pretty good list.
Okay.
So, next slide, please.
Not that one.
Not that one, not that one. That one. Okay. So, poetry needs two things. We need rhyme and we need meter. I'm sure there's other things, sorry. Just ignore the rest. I'm teaching poetry next. So we have to pick a rhythm for our hymn, right? So our options, there's lots of options, but we have scaled it down for you for the sake of brevity and the fact that I'm on the clock, to common meter and long meter, right? In a common meter hymn, we have 4 lines. The first and the third had 8 syllables. The second and the fourth have 6 syllables. In a long meter hymn, all 4 lines will have 8 syllables. There are a lot of hymns in the hymnal that fit this, and there's a lot that don't. But, Pastor, which one would you like to do? Common. Got it.
It's another reason you're better than group 1.
Yeah, you have chosen wisely. That's Matt's favorite. So the other thing we need to think about is rhyme, and for the sake of ease, we're going to go with an A-B rhyme scheme. If you don't know what it is, talk to Dr. Haley later. But basically, lines 1 and 3 are going to rhyme, and lines 2 and 4 are going to rhyme. And I don't like close rhymes. They make me get a little grumpy, so we're going to try to get actual rhymes, okay? All right, so the hardest part of the whole presentation happens now, where we have to come up with the first line of the hymn. So looking at this list of things that come up as important in the text, what do we want to emphasize? Jesus. Okay, great. What about Jesus? Jesus was transfigured. This is going to be a fantastic hymn. Wow. My 4th graders would be so proud. We're going to start with the word glory. Lisa? Ladies and gentlemen, I love Lisa. Behold.
This is where you first put like a little phrase, you kind of go, yeah, that's 6, or that's 8. Say that fits. Look at your neighbor's face.
Okay. Which means we're going to need something to rhyme with king here, which is, as an expert knows, you want nice rhyming words to show up. Right? King rhymes with some lovely things. Okay. So if we're saying, behold the glory of your king, who are we speaking to? Yeah, you the congregation, you the audience, right? So what else do we want to say? Give me a line 2. Okay. His dearest friends were there. Connect it to behold the glory of the king for me. We got to make them work together in a sentence. What? Well, we want 6 syllables and a new rhyme at the end. But syntactically, it has to fit with behold the glory of the king. We're beholding the glory of the king, so, my favorite question, so what? With truth and majesty?
T is a nice word to have. Lots of things rhyme with T.
Okay, so the glory of the king is with the truth and majesty. Okay, now I need a line that ends in ing. So we're beholding, so what? Where are we going with it? Well, it needs to rhyme with king. At the top. Okay, we sing. I like sing as the end word. Good. What was the whole? What's the point of the transfiguration? What's happening here? What theological truth do we want to mention here? If you think about your favorite hymns, right? They say something in a profound way, right? That's what poetry does. It takes a big, profound thing and it puts it in a little nutshell for you. So what about the transfiguration are we trying to get at? The divinity of Christ? Okay. Maybe he's talking about this is the one of whom we sing or something, pointing back to this. Okay. Were the angels on the mountain? Shining. Ooh. The only sun shining. Yeah. Face shining. Is face shining? I like transfigured here. Here.
Bring is good.
With face shining. How about that?
This ending on shining is strange.
Oh.
Yeah.
Transfigured here. Okay. So you say transfigured here. Well, what else can we say he brings? Okay, do we want to say the truth he brings, or he is the truth?
If you move in line 2,
Mm-hmm.
light and majesty, transfigured here, his truth to bring.
I like this, but the his truth doesn't rub me quite right theologically, because the truth, his truth just sounds a little too woke to me. It's just like his truth, man. No, but I understand what you're saying there, okay? But we talked to our students about how much word choice matters. We had one girl who translated, she was trying to make a hymn out of a psalm, which was great, but instead of saying Jesus is flesh, she couldn't find anything to write it with flesh. She said Jesus is meat. And connotation and denotation really matter. We're like, no. They also kept wanting to write Christmas hymns about Dark Knight, and we're like, that's Batman, okay? No Jesus and Batman together. Okay, so behold the glory of our King with light and majesty, transfigured here the truth to bring, something that rhymes with majesty. And 6, divinity? Okay. So 6 syllables that ends in divinity?
Yep. 2 syllables and then divinity. We didn't say we're going to write the best hymn. It has to just, yes.
The Son of Man. Son of Man. Divinity. Yeah, we have too many. God's Son. Human. Okay. Mary, son of man-child. Mankind. All right, last line. We're almost there, guys. Okay. Now, the one major part of our rubric that had to always be kind of first and foremost was, is it heretical? Okay? No heresy. Heresy gets an F. So Pastor, in a very anonymous doctrinal review, okay, we got the thumbs up. We're good. All right, so now it's Matt's turn. What? Well, we'll take it.
Okay, so text is great. Also need some music for it, right? So as we move into that, I do want to point out, maybe some of you are more musically inclined, some of you maybe are more poetically inclined. There's a reason why the two of us taught the course together, because neither one of us can do both. I have more music education and training. She's much more gifted with words than I am. So two of us together, you take a beginning, write something pretty good, maybe. But perhaps it's the same with you as well. So those of you who had a good time with the words and are kind of inclined that way and do a good job with that, great. We're going to move into more of a musical thing now. The new musicians who may have been kind of sitting lower in your chairs a little bit, maybe more confident. But we need a melody. So that's what we're going to do. So to do that, we're actually going to use numbers to build our melody. This is what we're doing with students too. So instead of writing an E sharp double major as the students decided to do, we're just going to keep it simple. We're going to write a C, and instead of using note meanings as we talked about the pitches that we're going to write for, we're just going to use scale degrees. And so if you're not familiar with scale degrees,
Next to
all we're really going to do is use numbers to describe the notes in the scale. So if we orient our ears to C major, got it right this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1. Thank you for not saying 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Those are our scale degrees. And of course, you've noticed already, that's going to be for our melody. For the harmony, as you talked about chords, right, you've got, that's a chord that's built on scale degree 1. And you can build chords on each one of the scale degrees. So here's a triad that's built on scale degree 1. If you just move the white keys going up, that's 2, 4, 6, 3, 5, 7, 4, 6, 1, 5, 7, 2, 6, 1, 3, 7, 2, 4, and we're back at the top. 1, 3, 5. That's what these Roman numerals mean, is just a chord that is built off of one of those scale degrees. That'll be more important in a minute. So as we write this melody, just as we're not writing the greatest text, it's pretty good, but we don't need to write a super complex dynamic melody. There's some general rules for melodies that make them singable. One is avoiding large leaps. So you don't want to have, there's some hymns that kind of do this sort of thing if you're in C major, and then you have, weird leaps. You want to stay away from that. So steps are good. No large leaps. No awkward intervals for people to sing. The singability test is always good. But as I pointed out to the students, you don't need complexity to make a great melody. And the point that I made to them is this. One of the hymns that we sing every year, usually with quite a bit of energy, is this. Every year. All of you sing it every year, I'm convinced. It's just a descending major scale. That's all you need. Mighty Fortress has this large outlining major scale. Harmonically speaking, Silent Night is only 3 chords. Simple is good. People like simple. It's safe, it's memorable. He's Risen, another one we sing at Easter time a lot. Pretty simple harmonically. So you don't need to reinvent everything there's to do. There's plenty of people who will step out of it. So that being said, what we have to do here is we have to assign some, let's see, we've used blue already. Ignore this stuff over here. We're going to go into more of a red experience. Most of the hymns in the hymnal start and end on scale degree 1. Scale degree hats, I may not do that all the way through. So we're going to start, we're in C. We're going to start with scale degree 1 just because most of the hymns do, and it's easy, it's home base, that's where we're starting, and that's what we're going to get back to. So, true man, given T, we're going back to 1 here. The rest of this is our canvas. So what we're going to do is, if you think about the flow of this, you can just try to sing it without thinking about it and see what your ear wants to do. And I'll ask that question again as we start filling in the scale here. So we're starting on you need another line that complements that. What does your ear want to hear after singing that line? Just sing it out. Oh, that was interesting. It worked last time, I promise.
Light and majesty.
Oh, did you hear that?
With light and majesty.
Yes?
117665.
Yes? Accurate? We'll go with it.
117665.
Now what do you want to hear? What's the next pitch? 5 again, right? Trans. So I got that far. Who had it? Okay, so we're going to outline kind of around scale 3, 5. Transfigured here. Yes? 5, 3, 4, 5. 6, 5, 4, 5. Students hated scale 3, 12. So all of you are doing great. Yeah, this is nice. Now what? True man divinity. Maybe if I've done that. 1, 4, 3, 2, 2, 1. Yeah? Any heartburn? Musical review?
Remember me.
I actually kind of like it because it echoes this phrase, right?
Yeah, and it goes up on divinity. I like,
It goes up.
but you're still in,
5, 6, 1, 1, 7, 1. So it's kind of like a mirror image of this, right? We like reflection in this text. 5, 6, 1, 1, 7, 1. Look at that. How long does that take? 6 minutes? That is not to poke fun at Henry. We are dramatically watering down what it should be like. It should take you time. You should be careful with it. So I don't mean to poke fun at it. But as I said at the beginning, the whole purpose of this is to kind of do this brute force and to be comfortable with it. This is all you have to do. And then you start to revise it and you look at it more critically. But this will work for us. Okay. A couple more decisions to
So we
make.
could have phrases and competing phrases.
Sure.
So what do you think about this? Or what do you think about this?
Yeah, you may say, I don't really like this part. What else could I do? And remember, you have at least 7 notes, and actually,
let me turn that.
we want to be fancy here. Yeah, do you want to turn around for me? So, let's go up here. That's where we started. Right, that's great. Yes? Oh no, we went to 5 again. And then we ended on. It's great. Some people might say, you know, that middle line. Oh my goodness. Things start to be possible. You can do that throughout your revision process. So the only thing that we have left to do before we move into something else is phrases like this, the 8 and 6, 8 and 6. What I tell students is, at the end of this melodic line, I want you to kind of have a harmonic landing zone, temporary place where you can say, okay, I'm trying to generally get to here. The way our melody works now, well, that's great. It sounds like this. But it could also be this. Or it could also be, depending on what chord you pick. So what I'd like us to try to do is, so what I'd like us as a group to do is pick what chord do we kind of want to be on for here? What chord do we want to be on for here? Bring, so King, Majesty, Bring, and Divinity. Spoiler alert on the last chord, it's going to be a 1, right? So that's where we're going to end up. Good people should see it too. There we go. That's all. All right. Now we're going to G. We're going to try to use orange here. Or orange, whatever I would say. We're going to 1 here. That's our destination. We're starting on Roman numeral 1 up here. Behold the glory of your King. You want that to be a major sound as I just played? Oh, okay. behold the glory of your King? Question mark?
We're not your surprise.
Glory of your King. No, I disagree on that one. You really only have those three choices once you start getting into Greek words.
I'm going to say we probably want
We have other places where six moves. With light and majesty. What chord do you want to hear there? Maybe. Probably not this either. It's too early for that. We're probably a little bit pigeonholed in five. Agitated. This finger here, the truth to bring, and that's scale degree 5. So that's. Yeah. What else? Or. What do you think? 5 again? I'm okay with that. Command divinity. All right. Not bad. You don't need a whole lot of ornamentation and harmonic fanciness to get to what you need. What are you trying to do? You're trying to sing a hymn that sounds good, easy to sing. We've got that. We've got stepwise motion. We've got opportunity for revision if we need it. So it's good. It's a good starting point. So with that, I'm going to go see if I can put this into software, and maybe we'll sing it before we have it. See if that works.
I have it written out, so don't put it.
All of that.
Yep. I think it's right.
I'll meet you over there. How about that? Everyone else can enjoy.
Time with Mrs. Rivers.
Silly song for
That's what we've been doing the whole time. All right, so you didn't realize that you were going to get so much in one presentation, but I do need you back, Miss Roundy, because I don't play anything. Somehow I taught a hymn writing class without being able to sing or play an instrument. Well, now I'm stalling for both of them. So we added this class as a capstone class. The students who took the class took a music appreciation class with Miss Roundy. They took a music theory class with Mr. Rivers and a Bach seminar as well. And then they took this class with both of us. And we admittedly only had 3 students. One of them was our own daughter, who is not here, but definitely our hardest student.
I'll tell her you said that.
I know you will. You're texting her right now. All right. Oh, Ms. Roundy's back. So we have a hymn to sing that we'd like to sing through, and this is a verse of one of the 3 students' hymns. I think this is verse 3 of the hymn. And I know this is really hard to sing, to see up here, because, it's little. So I'm going to kind of page through it as we go, and if Miss Roundy wants to play through it one time, and then the second time we'll sing through it. And again, I don't sing publicly, so hopefully you do. Okay, everyone got it? All right. Here we go. you. So all of our students produced 2 full hymns over the course of the year. And we did writing kind of portfolio style. We started the year, and I'm kind of going out of order here, but we started the year by analyzing hymns and then writing them. But our purpose for this is to show that even poor wretches like us can teach hymn writing, so you should probably teach it as well. As Matt says here in this PowerPoint, music functions as a proclamation when it is associated with texts that speak clearly and directly of law and gospel. That this is part of what we do as classical Lutheran schools. And so we should be teaching this as part of our curriculum, and how you incorporate that may vary from school to school, but this is what we do, right? Our students are well catechized. They know the scriptures. Our students are being given music instruction and writing instruction and all of the things that they need to do this. It's just the last step is actually doing it, right? This is where the songs of the church come from. And Matt often talks about being stewards of the music of the church and the liturgy of the church, and these are the things that we are teaching our students to be. We often sit around at home talking about classical Lutheran education, and because, we're working with a family like yours, and we talk about how our students are getting the kind of education that we did not get. Matt and I both went to public high schools, and somehow we got out of there alive, God be praised. But we didn't learn the things that our students, our children are learning until we were much older. And as our kids are coming home and they know the hymnals so well, I feel like we are really, we're posed for a Lutheran Renaissance of sorts, where we should be producing Lutheran art, we should be producing Lutheran music in a way that our generation, our parents' generation, weren't taught to and weren't given the opportunity to do that. So our argument is that if we can do it, anybody can teach this class. And I mean that in the best way. Matt is an excellent musician, and I could not have taught this class without him, but he's a volunteer. And there's probably someone at your church or school or homeschool co-op, if you aren't able to teach this class, that could. We're actually passing this class off to another teacher. Did you know this, Pastor Kaiser? We're passing this off to Mrs. Batunjak because she has a master's in both music theory and writing. She's the perfect candidate for it. And so, but we didn't know that until after we had already kind of created this. And there's probably, if you have an organist at your church, there's probably somebody who can teach the music part of this. And, if you have an English teacher at your school, there's probably somebody who can help you work through the poetry of this. And there's certainly a pastor somewhere who can help you with the doctrinal review. So those are the classes that our students took, and in that order. And they kind of built upon each other. We've been arguing that music should fit into math, Pastor. But the music theory is very, very mathematical, and traditionally that's where it would be. So this is the point where I'm waiting for Matt to do the things that normally our students would do. We made the students do all of their own inner voices and harmonies and everything, much to their dismay. And then Matt would make them redo it because there was too much parallel motion or something that I don't know what that means. They didn't like that very much either. But there's a lot of revision that goes into this. So we threw a lot at you very quickly. What questions do you have for us? Yes, ma'am.
What program did you use for the formatting that we saw?
Matt uses Finale, but there are other programs available. That's just the one he's been using since college. So.
There's a free one called MuseScore that's available online for free.
Yeah. There are apps, there are free ones. He's just set in his ways like a good Lutheran. Other questions? Does anyone have a hymn writing class at their school? I know that, yes, thank you, Pastor. I know out in Wyoming, they have to do one as a capstone project. Do you have one at yours?
No, but I teach early childhood music.
Oh, even better.
And so we've been learning how to do like the numbers, but we do it in solfege. So they
Uh-huh.
do baby shark in their do re mi's, and it's so cute.
Now have them do the Te Deum the same way. No, I'm serious. Little kid voices singing the Te Deum is the most beautiful thing in the whole universe. That brings up a good point. You might not have a high school. That doesn't mean you can't write hymns. We start painting with preschoolers. They're certainly not anyone, I mean, they're not Michelangelo or Rembrandt, they're preschoolers, but that doesn't mean we don't start painting with them. For the same reason, we can start writing with them, we can start teaching them music too. If you only go up to middle school, 8th graders can write hymns. And if you don't have somebody who can help you with 4-part harmony, well, you can just write a simple melody, or you could use a hymn that already exists. Most of the hymn writers in our Synod right now are either lyricists or they write the music. They're not generally both. So there are a lot of ways that you can get students into hymn writing. The most important part is that the teacher does a lot of writing. There is no way to teach writing without writing. I strongly believe that. So if you're going to have your students write hymns, you have to write them too. And they love tearing apart your work and telling you how badly you did. And that's cool. There's something that's very difficult about having someone read your poetry in a way that's even harder than reading your prose. And students got pretty mad at us when we told them they needed to make revisions. They're not back there nodding. But it's a really important part of the process. So the first step would be, I guess, to start writing your own hymns and then encourage your students to do the same. Any other questions? I still have a few minutes to stall. Oh, absolutely. Yep. There's one more quote before. This is one of Matt's favorite quotes from Luther. Our plan is to follow the example of the prophets and the ancient fathers of the church and to compose psalms for the people in the vernacular, that the word of God may be among the people also in the form of music. Luther, I think, would give us a thumbs up on our hymn writing class. Not that we did it well, but that we did it. And we attempted not to be heretical. And that's goal number one. We had a rubric that we followed with the students, one for poetry and one for music. And Matt didn't understand my rubric and I didn't understand his. But it worked out okay because the students seemed to understand both. But a big part of that was that we wanted students to sing the Word of God. That music is very much pedagogical in that way. I have to keep talking or he's checking to make sure he has anything bad in there. There is, and we're actually changing it this year because it's going to be the same one that Concordia, Nebraska uses for their freshman music class so that we can make it a dual credit course. Matt used the one that he used when he was a freshman in conservatory because you use what you know. And if you email us, we can tell you what that book is, but I'm not sure off the top of my head right now. Yeah. If you look behind you, there's a lady in a yellow sweater named Lisa Clark, and she's a Lutheran hymn writer for CPH. We also, we had a chance to go up to St. Louis and attend a conference with Stephen Starkey. And he, that was the first time that we really considered that you didn't have to be an expert in both the words and the music. You could be one or the other. We also consulted with Stephen Johnson, who's a friend of Matt's family, and a couple other organists to have them play through things just to make sure that there weren't weird clunky spots that we were missing because neither of us is an organist. We were fortunate enough that our students were talented enough to play the music for us so that we didn't have to be playing it. The pastor. The pastor says, okay, we're going to sing this. There's a lot of things with copyright and all, but we are kind of in the same school of thought as a lot of hymnists who, if you want your hymn sung, you just let people use it. I mean, if you want to take this hymn and make it an actual multi-verse hymn, not multiverse, but yeah, anyway, if you want to actually take this and make this your own hymn, by all means, God's blessings. And I think that we will be putting the hymn from Tuesday and the hymn from today. We're going to try to print out some copies and leave them on the faith table tomorrow. So if you want to make it better, by all means, we would love that. A lot of the best hymns that we wrote this year, I think, were ones that we kind of group wrote, where students worked together. I think that if we were to do it over again, we would have allowed for more group collaboration in the grade so that they could have written them together, because their best stuff was written together, and that wasn't part of the grade. They had to do their own individual work for the grade. But this particular group of students had so many music classes together that they kind of hive mind really well. Are you ready? No. Oh. Matt's ready.
We'll see what happens. There's a question about the textbook. It was harmony and voice leading, all those factors, second edition. That's what we used.
Do you know what Andrea's using?
I don't know what she's using. That was what I used in school. It was good enough. Well, it was very good, actually. It was probably a lot more than the students needed, but what I did is at the end of the chapters, there was like long exercises. Just do number one. You know, that's how we kind of adjusted that in the theory portion. I love the name of those. Harmony and voice leading. All of well instructed. I think if you Google harmony and voice leading, it should be. And what we did for the students is we looked on eBay, thrift books, wherever, and bought the damaged copies of the book for $2. Because if you buy the 8th edition new, it's like $100 new. Coming together. Any other questions related to more of the music theory end of things?
So we,
Both the tune that we did on whatever today is, Tuesday?
yeah, I just told him about this.
That tune for that group, and then the tune that you all have composed together. We'll have printed out at the Faith Lutheran School table over in Co. If you stop by there anytime tomorrow, there'll be printouts for that. You can pick it up if you want to.
He was in a soundproof booth.
If you want to never talk about it again, that's fine also. So,
We have,
Ms. Ronnie's going to do.
we have two things to do.
Yes.
So Miss Roundy's going to play this through, and then we're going to attempt to sing it. And then we have one more hymn that we want to play, the third student. So those are the two things we want to get through. And then if you have more questions or comments or tips.